Yo, what's going on?
What's going on? We back.
Another banger, back to feeding the
We
streets.
try and be active, man. We try and be active once a week. Me and Tyler try and get it in, give y'all some gems.
Yes, sir.
Spit some game to y'all, man. We really just try and feed the streets with the gems.
Yes,
And
sir.
put people on to what's going on in the vintage community and, everything like that. So,
What's going on with you, James? How you been?
shit cooling, man. Getting ready for Houston. Houston Thrift Con coming up this weekend. So,
Slit.
Flight Girls got to show up and show out. You know how we do.
Oh yeah, the bigger the better.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into this episode though.
So, what we talking about today?
Sure, we're gonna talk.
going on?
We're gonna talk about running a storefront. We're
Running
gonna
a
go into
storefront.
depth with that. We're gonna talk about this and that a little bit. So let's get into this. Let's get into this episode, James.
Word, definitely.
All right. So asking the expertise like yourself, because you've been doing this for a while now. What would be your basics of running a storefront? Would you say your basic necessities?
Running a storefront, basic necessities, I would say, number one, getting your license and permits together.
Got you.
Number two, get a accountant to handle all your paperwork.
That
stuff
back
like
end
that.
stuff, yeah.
That back end stuff that they don't want to talk about, the stuff that's not fun. You know what I mean? What else? Location.
Gotcha.
Where you actually want to be located. And then I would just say like your layout, your display. Kind of how your shop's going to be set up. I would say those are like four things that I would say are most important, at the beginning stages of, opening a storefront.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely dope. You're running your own store, you make it your own way, do your little things to it and stuff like that. One of the first things I heard you say I noticed was your expenses. I know that's probably one of the biggest things when you run a business. You got to count the money and stuff like that, make sure everything's good. What would you say, like, your key expenses that really have an effect on your storefront?
As far as expenses go, like I said, number one, make sure you get an accountant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's big because you may think that you can handle everything on your own, but once you start making some real money, and you're trying to handle everything, expenses and what you got to pay for and stuff like that, it gets a little bit tricky. And then also each state is different. So we're based in Connecticut. That's those tax rules and permits and stuff like that are set up one way that may not be the same in California or Florida or
Right.
anywhere else, wherever you're located. So I would say definitely get like your accountant and everything set up first. Get a business checking account and get a business savings account.
Got you.
That's definitely big, just so that you have everything in order. You don't want to mix your personal accounts with your business account.
Yeah, because then money gets, it gets lost and stuff. But not even lost, but like it gets, it gets messy a little bit. It's better to be organized and stuff like that.
Well, just for your paperwork and your back end stuff, it has to be separate anyway.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you open in the storefront, you have to have a business account and a business savings, an accountant, like I said, or CPA, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm trying to think what else. I mean, there's all types of expenses. It just depends. You got your rent. So based on your location, or what city you're in, your rent is going to be obviously the main expense. That's the cost that you pay monthly for your space in general. You got electricity. So you're going to have, electricity bill. You're most likely going to have a gas bill. You're most likely going to have, depending on the landlord and the location, you may have a water bill, or they call it a sewage bill. One of the two, if not both. You got to have internet, so you're going to have an internet bill. You got to have security, so you're going to have that as an expense also. You have to have business insurance. So that's another expense. And
Your POS as well.
Yeah, your POS. We use Square. So you have Square, POS, you have Shopify. I'm trying to think what else.
They
You have
all going to try to take
Clover.
your money from you. They all take a little fee and stuff like that. It's never
gonna,
free.
They're going to take a fee, you know what I mean? Or a few. You know
Yeah.
how that go. But,
Someone's taking your money.
yeah, definitely. So you got your POS. And I mean, I know people don't want more expenses, but it's probably a couple more, that I'm missing right now. But
People
we'll tap
don't want
into
it. The problem is, I say, is people don't want it and people don't realize it.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, why do they charge for this? Why do they charge for that? It's like you got a lot of expenses you got to take care of just to make sure, like you said, your back end stuff is good. A lot of people don't understand that, so that's why we here, you know, letting you know about the expenses and stuff like that. It's important. You gotta
Nah,
keep that stuff
definitely.
in like organized and stuff.
Definitely, because by opening a store, first of all, opening a storefront is a choice because everybody can just sell online and not have all that overhead and expenses.
Exactly.
You know, so opening a storefront is a choice, and most likely, you know, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it, you know, for the community, for the people, you know, in your area wherever you live at, you know, just so that they have an experience to come in and shop, whether it's a sneaker store, vintage store, or streetwear store. You know what I mean? It's most likely you're doing it for the community. You're trying to provide, you know, a service for people, a place for people to come in, have a dope experience, and you know, shop with you.
Gotcha.
Shop dope items.
And the crazy thing is, it's like all the things you listed too. It's not even like, I mean, obviously we're on the spectrum of like buy sell trade, resale, clothes, stuff like that. But all those things you listed also could fit into like a generic store, like a florist. Any generic store, you're still gonna have those same exact expenses. Your POS, your security, all that stuff you listed. So it's more of a wide range thing, just because I don't want people to be like, oh well, depending on this, that, and the third. It covers everything.
Yeah, and I mean, if you really want to dive into that, if you're doing like food or something like that, there's a lot more licenses and permits that you gotta have.
Exactly.
To do food, you gotta go through inspections, stuff like that. So I mean, you know, when small business in general, anybody that has a storefront or is opening a small business, a physical brick and mortar location, they know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's a lot that goes into it on the back end, you know, upfront investment that people don't see. They may come in and just be like, oh yeah, they got cool shirts, they got, you know, this and that, and they don't understand that, you know, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, costs
Exactly.
just to operate the business. We haven't even gotten into, you know, profit or anything like that. We just talking about what you have to pay on a monthly basis, how you have to track everything and stuff like that. And like I said, it also depends on your state. So, you know, like Connecticut, sales tax is 6.35%. California is higher. I think Florida may be around the same or higher. So like I said, this is all, a lot of this information varies based on location.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It runs around everything. Let me ask you this while we're at it: what would be your pros and your cons listing off while you're running a storefront? Because there's always pros and cons to something. It's always black and white. So let me hear some let me hear some pros and cons you got for me.
Yeah, so I mean, pros of running your own store is, you know, number one, it's your own. You can operate it the way you want to. It can look however you want it to look. The color scheme, the setup, the layout, it's all however you want it. You have the freedom, you know what I mean, to do that. And to be honest, let me dive into that a little bit more.
Gotcha.
You don't always have the freedom to do that because it also depends
On your landlord.
Yeah, on your landlord location. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
may be in a certain location where they don't allow you to do certain things. You know what I mean? You got like certain city permits and stuff that restrict things, like even like signs, like the sign out front of the shop.
Yeah.
We had to, you know, go to the town of Hamden and get clearance for that sign.
Exactly.
You know
Because
what I
we've
mean?
seen some crazy ass spots before, like some dope spots that could be potential retail, but it all boils down to who the man who owns the property. And if the guy's like, I don't want retail, then, you know, that could be another factor of what it's like running a store. You might find a location that you might be like, damn, this would be really nice to be at. But then again, it's like you said, you gotta do it in a professional manner where, like you said, you gotta go to the town, you gotta go to the landlord. There's a lot of other things you gotta do to make sure, like you said, your business is running in the proper location in the proper manner.
Yeah, and it depends on how you coming in.
Exactly.
If you're coming in and you have funding, you may not pay rent. You may buy a building. You know what I mean? So it's not always, you know, paying rent or dealing with a landlord. You may purchase a property.
Exactly.
And that's even deeper because you got, you know, when you purchase a property,
Make sure your credit got to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
All the other stuff like that.
That's number one from the beginning. But, you know, when you purchase a property, you have to, you're responsible for all expenses and anything that goes on with the building itself.
Got you.
From the roof to the plumbing to the electrical to, you know what I mean? So it just kind of depends on your situation and how you're trying to jump into it. Obviously, if you purchase property, you have all the control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the difference between purchasing property and just renting the space out and dealing with a landlord. So I would say that's a pro and con in itself. Some landlords are assholes.
People are gonna be people.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what it
Yeah,
is.
some landlords are assholes. They may be nosy. They may, be coming in your shop all the time. Luckily we have a cool landlord who he lets us do our thing,
Right.
and kind of operate how we want to operate. But, like I said, it's all kind of different depending on where you're at, location, and who you're dealing with. But,
Gotcha.
that would be, first for pros and cons. The second pro I would say would just be, people coming in and actually enjoying and taking pride in the service that you're offering. People come in with a smile on, they get good pieces, they're happy
Right.
with what they get, from us, they enjoy it. And that's a pro, just making people happy, making people
Exactly.
satisfied with what they're getting from us.
Overall, having fun with it. Like
Yeah,
you said, like in the last episode we talked about you having fun with it. That's what it boils down to too. Not to deep into it, but having
Yeah.
fun with it, giving that good customer service, stuff like that, interacting with people, with your community.
Definitely. Customer service is definitely at the top of the list also with running your own business. But I would say, just the customers coming in, showing love
Gotcha.
and support. That's a pro. And then, to tap into a couple cons, you gotta make sure your security and everything is up to date. Because everybody's not gonna be happy that you open the store.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So you're going to have people out there that, you may be selling some high-end products that, people probably want to steal. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure you got to possibly, deal with break-ins and stuff like that.
That's what comes with running a business.
You know what I mean? So you got that end of it. You may come to your shop one day and the window's smashed or something like that. Stuff like that.
Vandalized, anything like that.
That's why, like I said from the beginning, like your business insurance is very important because, that's kind of your protection for your product and everything inside the store. And, if somebody smashes a window or something like that. Also, if somebody, trips and falls in front of your shop, they try to sue you. Without business insurance, you're all set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's little stuff like that people don't necessarily think about. They think, oh yeah, cool, I got $1,500, I got the first month rent, I'm good to go. Nah, you gotta have everything.
Way more than that.
Yeah, you gotta have everything in order. Your business insurance is a big part. But that's a negative too. People just trying to tear down your business.
Right. I'd say personally, even though you run the business, you and Amber, I feel like I've been in the shop long enough to see some of those pros and cons. I'm gonna say another pro from my perspective, I'd say, would be just seeing that growth.
Yeah.
As in,
definitely.
like, when you guys started the business in the beginning, it was you seen the potential is what I'm trying to get at. Basically, that growth, that change, that in the future have 2-3 stores or however you want to do it. You see where you're starting from with that one store. See where you started from, then you just level up from there. I feel like that's one of the best things. It's just the growth.
Yeah, definitely staying consistent and, always trying to improve and get better and, be different. You know what I mean? I think that's definitely a pro in itself, growing and scaling the business from, the look of the shop. This isn't how the shop originally looked. You know what I mean? And just stuff like that, always upgrading, trying to innovate and, just be creative.
Right, yeah. I'd say even since I did a pro, I'm going to do a con for you as well. We are on the East Coast. So you know how weather gets. This can kind of dibble and dabble into location as well. But we're on the East Coast. We get snow.
Yeah.
So weather would be a key factor. If you're trying to be open 24/7 every day, you got to look at what's the right place you want to be at, because that's part of having a storefront. It's different from online. Online, I could buy a T-shirt when it's 15 inches of snow outside versus, being here, bringing yourself here, make sure you're here on time, stuff like that, weather, a bunch of different stuff, traffic, a whole bunch of things that matter when you're running a storefront, because you got a physical thing you got to take care of, a location.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously we're in Connecticut, so snow is definitely a factor in the winter.
Man, that snow is something else.
The snow you may not be able to open every day. I mean, we've had times where the snow was so bad we had to close for 2 days in a row. You know what I mean? So that, that's a factor in your business. But like you said, it's based off location.
Of course.
You know what I mean? If you're in like a prime, like a downtown location, not only weather but parking. You know, I would say that's a con for our shop. We don't have the greatest parking situation
Yeah.
for our shop because we're on a main road. There's no parking lot. You kind of just park on the side of the street. And you know that's a con. That's something that people have brought up to our attention. You know that there's not good parking to
Because
come shop at the store.
with the business, everyone, unfortunately, you can't satisfy everyone, and that's just real life stuff in
Oh,
general.
yeah.
You can't satisfy everyone, so you're gonna have those people. Oh, why you're not open this now?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, do you see what's going on outside, or this, that, and the third? Some people, you know, they kind of
Yeah.
don't understand how it is with running a business. Give me another negative. I'd like to hear another negative from you.
I would say another negative, but this is also preference. So we
okay.
have a very distinctive like hours. So
Gotcha.
we're open Wednesday through Saturday, 1 to 6 p.m. These are the hours that we chose, you know, during COVID. Just because, you know, stuff was a little bit slower. We were trying to figure out how the traffic and the economy and everything was going to pick back up.
Gotcha.
And we ended up sticking with those hours for our business specifically because how we, you know, run our business and operate, how we run the store and operate, that those hours work for us specifically.
Of course.
As owners. That's another key too, you know. It's your business, so run it how you want to run it. Don't feel like, oh, I gotta have these hours or I gotta, you know, do it this way because I see this person do it or that person do it. You run your business how you want to run your business.
It's your business.
Yeah, that's also what makes you unique and different from other people.
Exactly.
But I would say our hours have been, you know, brought up as a concern to some customers and people. And you know, we try our best to, the days we are open, we try our best to make sure that we're providing excellent customer service. The shop is stocked with new inventory. We try to restock the shop weekly with new pieces. At least 100 new pieces a week we put into the shop.
And that's the thing too. It's like you said, that the hours is a preference, is going off your business, but you got to find a way to get those right hours as well as keep feeding the store itself. Because you can't, I mean, unless you have 1,000 employees doing other work for you, if you're starting by yourself, most likely, or maybe even another partner, you still got to figure out what are those key hours to be working to make sure, you know, you're still getting the inventory in the store in general.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to hours, and to touch on what you said about employees, but what goes into the hours, like I said, is preference.
Yeah.
You can open unless you're in a mall. If you're in a mall, then you know mall
You're
rules
giving
are
the
a
set
little
hours,
bit,
yeah.
Those are a little bit different from an actual storefront location, but you know the hours is your preference. You know, you do a trial and error. You kind of see what the flow of traffic is, what days, you know, work best for you. Some people like, you know, a lot of businesses don't open on Sunday. Sundays work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So with the hours, it's definitely kind of preference, location. It's a little bit of everything. But to go into what you were saying as far as employees.
Right.
So our shop, me and Amber are, you know, the only two people. We own and operate the shop ourselves. There's nobody else. You know what I mean? You come and help, you know, very often. But besides that, we don't have set employees, part-time or full-time employees.
Exactly.
Which is also preference of us as well. You know, we kind of like to do our own thing, do it our way. And, you know, we just, at the moment, you know, we don't feel the need for employees.
Of course, yeah.
So with that being said, that factors into the hours as well.
That can also
You know what I
factor
mean?
into your expenses as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because you have to hit, the funny thing is with that, it's like, yeah, you got to pay for the whole store and make sure it's flowing. And then you got to make sure you got to put money in someone else's pocket for them to do the work for you as well.
Yeah,
So that could be another expense that can, you know,
most
come into
definitely.
factor with that as well.
Most definitely. And to go back to what you were saying about like with the expenses, a lot of people think, okay, cool, I may have the money for, you may have, let's say you have, you know, a certain amount of money set aside for your location, for your layout, your inventory, everything. All right, that's cool. Once you break down those expenses monthly, deduct that from whatever you made. So if you make 10,000 this month and you have 11,000 in expenses, you're not making no bread that month.
Exactly.
And to be honest, what I learned running a business is that realistically, in the first 5 years, you're not in profit. You know what I mean? It takes up to 5 years for you to get into the green. And what I mean by that is not that, you know, you're losing money or you're not making money, but within the first 5 years, most of the money that you make is going directly back into the business, whether it's expenses, inventory, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Most likely, whatever you make it should be going directly back into the business. You know what I mean? That's another reason why you don't mix your personal account with your business account.
Gotcha.
You get
Okay,
what I'm
I was going to
saying?
ask you that earlier because I was going to ask you, wanted to go more in depth with that savings account.
Yeah.
But now I see I understand what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
we
Now.
could touch
Gotcha.
on that. So like I said, you don't want to mix your business account with your personal account because you have a certain amount of expenses. So like you have personal expenses. You got your own, you may have your own, car, your own, apartment, crib, whatever. You got your own bills, your own groceries. That's technically separate from your business. So if you have, all the money going to one account and you're paying for personal stuff and paying for business stuff, that's not going to work. That's not going to work for you in general operating, and it's definitely not going to work when a tax man come.
Oh, he's going to get you.
You know what I mean? He's going to get you.
Uncle Sam is going to get you.
You definitely have to have everything separate. You definitely got to try to keep a log of everything. And, you know what I mean? It gets deep. You got to log all your expenses, your gas, your your inventory, what you spend on inventory, supplies that you have to purchase for a shop,
and the thing
traveling, anything like that.
Yeah.
And if you work, a lot of people don't know, if you let's say you have a dedicated space in your home, you may work from home as well outside of your storefront, that room, the square footage of that room is a write-off.
Yeah.
People don't know that. You know what I mean? So it's just little things like that. And that's why I said at the beginning, getting an accountant and diving in on the do's and don'ts of what you should be doing and getting that back end stuff in order is honestly what's going to be the key part to how your business, grows and flourishes, and how you get to that next level and keep elevating and growing.
Because I like what you said about, you're really in the green until you're after those 5 years of making that business. I really like that. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, everything's it's different depending on who it is in the situation.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
That's just kind of a general basis
Yeah.
of your first 5 years. Most likely, after you pay for expenses for the year and the taxes you have to pay at the end of the year, most likely you're not really in the green.
Exactly. And
know
not
what I
all
mean?
this stuff. The crazy thing is with this stuff too, it's all this stuff isn't like a one-time thing. You're paying this, I'm assuming you're doing this monthly or even a couple times out the year and stuff like that.
Most your expenses are going to be monthly.
Yeah.
Depending on your state, your taxes and stuff that you have to pay like that may be quarterly, which is every 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
And then you have to still file your regular, federal and state taxes every year. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. People, they see the store, they see the product, and they, like you said, they may complain about prices, or they may complain about, oh, they price their stuff for this, or this is too high, or at this spot it's this price and that. And to dive into that a little bit, one, we just discussed all types of expenses and overhead that you have to pay just to operate a storefront.
Exactly.
Right? The second part is when it comes to inventory, at least like for a store like ours, buy, sell, trade, we outsource everything on our own. So you don't know what our expenses for the product itself.
Exactly.
Outside of, operating the store. You know what I mean? So you may see a price, I'll give an example. You may see a price, Eric Emanuel shorts. Everybody's into Eric Emanuel shorts, right? Retail is 100 to 130, depending on the design and whatever, tax and shipping. You're going to pay 100 to 130. So margins are a little bit different. Some stores may have them for 180, 200, 225. I've seen up to 250. So at the end of the day, you don't necessarily know, or maybe that store owner, maybe he's not getting his Eric Emanuels for retail. You know what I mean? Maybe he's getting them. Maybe he's paying. Maybe he's paying 150.
Yeah.
Maybe he's paying 75, 80 a pair.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So people try to dive into prices and what stuff is supposed to be priced at, and you don't necessarily know how that business owner is operating. You don't know his overhead. You don't know his expenses cost. There's a lot of factors that go into pricing of product at a store.
Got you. Let me ask you this, because you know a lot about these expenses and stuff like that. When you guys first started the business, was this obviously, you level up your store, you get, upgrade and stuff like that, get a bigger and bigger spot. Did you notice all these expenses when you first got in, or did you, went with the process, you learned with this, that, and the third?
We kind of learned as we went. I mean, we knew, a good amount at the beginning, but not as much as we know, now being 5 years in. But I mean, as far as like the taxes and the back end, paperwork and stuff, I can't say it enough. That stuff is very, very important.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's very important because, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where 2-3 years down the line, that man in that shirt and tie come in with that clipboard.
That's crazy. I was just about to say, I was like,
You
what
know
about if
what I
that
mean?
man comes in, he's like, yo, let me see your paperwork.
Exactly. With that man come in with that shirt and tie and that clipboard,
It's over.
I mean? You don't really know how that's gonna go. So you
Exactly.
gotta make sure everything is in order, everything is up to date. You gotta make sure you're paying like I said, your taxes, all your expenses. You got quarterly taxes, you got property taxes. It's all types of stuff. And like I said, a lot of this depends. I don't want to overwhelm people. A lot of this depends on the state.
Yeah.
It depends on your location.
And your preference in general as well of running your business, depending on how you want to do it.
Exactly.
Like you said, there's certain things you don't have to do. Like, you guys travel a lot. That's one of your main expenses. You could say, taking these flights and going this and here and gas and stuff like that. These are expenses you still put into the business. This is going towards your business.
Exactly. I mean, to dive into the traveling just a little bit, you got your flight. We ship cargo, so you got to ship all your product. You got
to do racks, you got to do hangers, you got to do
rent a car, hotel, food, gas, the expense of whatever the booth price is at the show. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff that has to get paid for before you even sell a T-shirt.
And the crazy thing is, you have to do all that stuff and then still have the fundage. Because I'm assuming you're going out there, you're either going out there to sell your stuff, which you can do, going out there to network and stuff like that. But I'm assuming, going off my assumption, you're going to still go out there with the fundage of still buying product as well.
Oh, yeah,
So you still have to have this back-end stuff, like you're saying, the rent-a-car, the flights, the cargo, your racks, your hangers, and then still the fundage to bring money to even have enough to, restock the inventory. Because you guys go crazy every time you go to an event. You guys sell out. Fly Girls does great. Fly Adventure does great at these events. And it's good, but you have to make sure that stuff... You can't bring home empty racks and be like, okay, because you're taking some of the stuff with you.
Yeah, I mean, all those expenses that we said, and then factor in purchasing new product for the shop. And when you're at a show, it's people just like us selling stuff. So you may not necessarily get that lowest price.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You may pay, $50 for a shirt to sell it for $80. You may pay $20 for a shirt to sell it for $50. You may pay $100 for a shirt to sell it for $150.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different factors and stuff that goes in, you know what I mean, to operate in the storefront and the traveling and the expenses. And what I want people to get from this is that, one, don't judge a book by its cover.
Of course.
Don't assume that, a store is overcharging or, somebody's taxing. Everybody likes to use that word. Oh, yeah, they taxing. It's like, from a business perspective, and business owners know this, from a business perspective, operating a business every day, whether it's a storefront or not, there's a lot of upfront expenses that go in before you even sell a T-shirt. Shipping. I'll tap into shipping. We ship packages every day. So you got shipping supplies, ink cost, you know what I mean?
If you're doing merch, the merch cost.
Yeah, merch costs. Hangers costs. There's all types of costs. You know what I mean? So all that gets factored in. It has to be documented. It has to be, cataloged properly.
And then when tax season comes, they got to be on paper. You got to make sure all this is still accounted for because the man's going to come and get you. If numbers is looking a little crazy and the man come in, he's saying, yo, I'm looking at your numbers, something's a little off.
Yeah,
you're in a deep hole right there,
Definitely. You're always gonna have to, pay the tax man. You're not really gonna be able to get away from that.
That is one thing we can promise you. You're gonna have to pay him.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, if some people try to get away with it for a certain amount of time, but he gonna come.
He's gonna get you regardless.
Yeah,
you might get away from him for like a year or two. Maybe I'd even doubt that or so. But he's gonna get you.
It depends. I mean, some people, get away or I'm not going to say get away because I don't know everybody's situation. Some people may not be in a situation to have all their stuff, proper.
Right.
But, some people are 6, 7, 8 years behind in taxes. You know what I mean? And that's when people, get into, filing bankruptcy and all that. But we're not even going to go down that route. But this is just things that people need to be aware of when you're operating a storefront.
And one of the things I always notice, because we travel, we go to these different stores and stuff like that. You guys do this as well. This would be another expense if we're going to go on that expense route. Hygiene of the store. the condition, the
Oh,
lights.
yeah, nah, definitely.
Like you said, even though you're paying for the electricity, but hypothetically, when your bulbs go out or something like that, you got to pay another thing.
Yeah.
Your hygiene, your clothes, make sure
Yeah.
everything is clean. Even if it's not clothes, your
and
floor, your
everybody
vacuumed,
everybody
everything.
doesn't wash their clothes.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? That's something that we do. We wash everything. Anything, obviously we try to stick to just brand new streetwear, but as far as vintage goes, everything is washed and steamed before it comes into the shop. There may be some shirts that, are distressed, or it may be a minor stain or two.
But the thing is, if you're, not to cut you off, that's vintage though, If
Oh,
you
yeah,
truly
nah,
understand, yeah, there might be some perfect tees, but vintage, it's been worn, it's had a lifestyle before
Yeah.
you even took it off the rack.
Nah, definitely, but that's an expense. That's why I'm throwing that in there.
course.
Washing, and like I said, that's also a preference. But that's just another expense that factors into the price. You know what I mean? It's just so many things that factor into the price. Everybody thinks, oh, they're charging $200 for this or $100 for that. It's like, bro, if you break down the expenses, everything that we just talked about, $100 shirt. The profit on that may be $10.
And the crazy thing with that is
The
too,
profit
it's
on
like
that may be $20. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing is, because you guys started this early in the game, relatively early in the game, I want to say.
Yeah, we started. Amber's been doing this for since she was little. But, we started when we got together and we started the business and brand. We started in 2015.
Yeah.
We started sourcing and picking and reselling on different platforms in
Right.
2015, and then we opened the storefront in 2017.
Got you. And I didn't want to, I don't want to double down with the prices too much, but I just want to say, I wouldn't say it'd be an expense, but the pricing is it's a thing, because you have to stay educated on what's, how things inflate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to say 1,000% sure. I know certain T-shirts like NASCAR tees, all over print tees in general, they go up. Like you might be able to get a T-shirt, a NASCAR tee back then for $50, $60 back then, and now you're at these events, so you're buying them to put them back in your store, and you have to pay $100, and then you have to hear Jimmy Bob come in here. He's like, "Yo, bro, this, that, and the third." It's like you gotta. I want you guys to understand. It takes a lot to really keep the business flowing and still not hear that stuff and like that.
Yeah, nah, definitely. I mean, a lot of stuff that gets purchased for the shop that we pay, we pay market for. The profit margins aren't big. Like I said, it may only be $20 profit or whatever. It's more about us trying to get the pieces in the shop that we know people want to see.
Exactly.
People want to purchase. And then to go back a little bit when we talk about just expenses a little bit, like once you factor all those expenses into purchasing or reselling something, then it's kind of like, well, damn, is it worth it at the end of the day for some people? For some people, it may not be worth it, to pay $50 for a shirt and try to sell it, for $80. But if you look at sneakers, I know a ton of people that own and operate sneaker stores, and they're paying that StockX ask price. They're paying market.
Yeah.
They're paying market, and they're upcharging. And then to go into that a little bit deeper, you got people that, whether it's sneakers or streetwear or vintage, people are paying market price to put the stuff in their store at a certain price. And then you also have to factor in the location. Like I said, we go back to location. In LA on Melrose, that's premium.
Exactly.
In New York in Soho, that's premium. You know what I mean?
And it's crazy because with the location thing too, it's like, all right, you can be on like you said, Soho, Melrose, you can be on a premium spot, but running a business, you're not gonna 24/7, you're not gonna get a hot day. We've been on Melrose plenty of times before.
Oh, yeah.
Where it'd be like a middle of the Wednesday or Tuesday, and it's dead dry.
Yeah.
And that's some of the things you have to understand with the storefront is, yes, you're gonna have your good days. Of course, you're gonna have your good days, but you're also gonna have your bad days, and you got to be able to understand that. I had a bad day, but I gotta keep going, keep that commitment going to understand that we got to just fight through that as well.
Yeah, nah, definitely. That's retail in general.
Yeah.
And to tap in on that, we got homies that got shops on Melrose, shops in Soho, and just for people that travel and have been to these locations, Melrose rent is 10 to 20 G's a month. I just want people to know that. So if you go into a shop and you're complaining about a price, that person has to pay probably $10,000+ a month just rent.
Just to have
rent.
Just the rent, just the building
just the
itself.
space.
Just the space.
Just the space, not lights, not anything else. not, money for inventory.
And now if you have a bigger store, you have to do more decor, more inventory. These
Yeah.
things that factor in into running your storefront.
Exactly. So I mean, operating a storefront is way bigger than just selling the product
Right.
on the rack, selling the product. And a lot of stores, I know us in general, we try to make it a point. We're not in one of those prime locations. So I'll talk about us specifically
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
people may complain about our prices based off of our location. So I want to tap into that. We're not in we're not in LA, we're not in New York, we're not in Miami, we're not in a prime location. We're in a very, very small market of Connecticut, but we still try to provide premium product. And by premium product, what type of pieces are in here. What type of product we try to put out and present to people. So in that sense, that's our brand. That's what we do. You know what I mean? So people because when people shop here, they're on Dixwell Avenue. The price is a little bit high for this location. Yeah, that's cool, but our brand, this is what we offer. This is what we specialize in.
Exactly.
So we're going to present what we specialize in, but we also have affordable prices for everybody.
Exactly.
We do a $5 sale every month.
You have a 40 and under rack.
Yeah, we do a $5 sale every month where we put out hundreds of pieces for only $5. Then we have a permanent $10 rack that stays in the store and gets restocked at least twice a week. Then we have a 40 and under rack where you can find shirts anywhere from, $15, $20, $30, $40. And then you still have your premium shirts where most of those shirts are probably going to be $60 and up. You know what I mean? So we try to hit all categories, all price ranges because of our location, because we know the community that we have. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of people don't understand the breakdown, the diversity of a location versus a prime location versus New York, LA, things like that.
Because that's one of the things you have to understand, because we're on the location topic, is, you can be in Connecticut, and hypothetically, if you want to start your first business in New York or whatever, you got to learn your location. You have to learn your demographics, what it's like, what type of market. Like you said, we're in a market, like a smaller market. So you have to understand what works for you, and as well as help the community itself. Because that's what you guys are here for, helping the community, giving everyone these great prices and stuff like that, being able to fluctuate these prices. Because, we've been to stores before where, everything is the same. Everything, 100 up, which I'm not bashing that. I respect it a lot. Yeah. But being able to differentiate all those prices and still being able to please every single person, it's a really amazing thing. I respect it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And you're not gonna please everybody, but what I want to tap into that a lot of people forget about, vintage boutiques, streetwear stores, sneaker stores. I'll only speak for our store. We're buy sell trade. So buy sell trade means that you can buy product, you can trade product, and you can sell product with us. So what that means is if there's a $200 shirt and you want that, you don't necessarily have to pay $200. You could bring in 3 or 4 pieces, chop that price in half, maybe 75% less if you bring the right product in, and walk away with a shirt that you've wanted for $20, $25.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people forget that, because when they complain and bitch about prices.
The thing that it kind of confuses me. It's like, all right, I have, say hypothetically, shoes or whatever, I'm selling to somebody. It's a business. The business isn't there to rip you off. It's there to help you, but as well, it has to help themselves. You scratch my back, I got to scratch yours, type of thing. So the thing that I don't understand is people who are like, oh, you guys are underpaying me, I need more than that, this and stuff like that. I don't understand that, because like I said, you gotta make sure you make money on top of it. So you gotta make sure, like I said, you guys are a buy sell trade. People come in here, you gotta make sure what to price at, what you will price it at in the future to make sure you're getting the right price for it, to make that green, to make the profit. That's one of the things I'd say is important too if you're doing a buy sell trade.
Yeah, and I mean, a factor of our business is because a lot of people think that the stuff, like, we have a storefront in Connecticut, and we're here on a weekly basis, but the overview of our brand and what we do is not just the storefront. Like you said, we travel a lot, so pricing isn't always based on the demographic.
Exactly. No, yeah, of course. I mean,
pricing may be, we may price something a little bit higher because at a show you could get that price, versus in the store you know what I mean, you may not be able to get that price, or it's not the right market for that type of item. But we don't want to shorthand. We want to offer everything to everybody and allow them to shop and purchase what they like to purchase.
Let me ask you this and go a little bit deeper into that. What helped you, since you guys have been doing bicycle trade for a while, what helped you being able to have that skill of, okay, a guy bringing in a certain shirt, I know what I'm gonna price it at in the future. Let me ask him this. What skill set? What helped you, better strengthen that skill? I want to say.
I mean, when it comes to buying, selling, and trading, I would say a lot of our knowledge came from flea markets.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it came from just researching, looking stuff up on eBay, and then like I said, a lot of factors we try to purchase. We don't really promote buy, sell, trade as much as we probably should or have in the past with our store specifically,
Mm-hmm.
just because we outsource a lot of stuff on our own.
Mm-hmm.
But when people do come in with good product, I always ask people, what do you want
Right.
for your stuff?
And that's the right question to ask.
When you're selling something to a store, you should, if you're coming with the intent to sell, you should already have a price in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of bothers me when people come in and say, well, I wanted to see what you're going to offer. You know what you purchased for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you want for it. So
You
that
know a
should be
ballpark. You know
Exactly.
a number you're trying to, I guess, hit next to or
that.
something.
That should be the upfront conversation, or that should be what's discussed up front.
Exactly.
As far as like what you're looking for a product. So I try to ask people, well, what do you have prices in mind?
Mm-hmm.
I always ask people that. Do you have prices in mind? Because like we said, as a store owner with expenses, with everything I know I have to handle,
Mm-hmm.
I want to purchase product at the best price for me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So my price may not work for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So by coming into a store, you should definitely always have a price in mind, or at least a ballpark range. You know what I mean? And not, try to put the pressure on the store owner, or, have the store owner make you an offer and then say, oh yeah, they lowball, or oh yeah, they do this. If you tell me what you want for your stuff, then we can work from that number.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But without that, I'm gonna try to get product at the best price available.
Of course. That's what
You know
a
I mean?
business
That's what
is.
anybody's gonna do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's number one. But number two, like I said, just the research, looking stuff up on eBay.
Okay.
Like you said, the demographic, knowing what moves in the store. So
I got
there's
you.
certain products that I know move better in the store or move quick for us at a show that I may purchase. There's stuff that I know that is high demand. Those type of pieces I may pay a little bit higher on, because I know, I need this because such and such. I know people are gonna come in and purchase this product.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So it's a couple different variables that go into it. But I would just say, look up your product first. Do your homework. Look at the condition. Most shops, I know, at least us, we buy based on demand. So in the summertime, we don't buy winter stuff, and in the wintertime, we don't really buy summer stuff.
Yeah, that's an important factor.
You know what I mean? So those are just a couple things of how we operate and purchase product when it does come into the shop.
Of course. While running a storefront, one of the main factors I want to say is people. You got to deal with people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of your important factors, I want to get a little bit more in depth with customer service.
Okay, so customer service for any business, storefront or whatever, is probably the most important thing.
Of course.
You know what I mean? How you treat people, how you greet people, how you help people. I learned a long time ago, you have self shoppers, and then you have people that want you to engage with them and
Right.
help them shop.
Right.
So you may have a self shopper, somebody come into the store, hey, how you doing? Is there something you're looking for? No, I'm good. They're a self shopper. They may want to browse through the store on their own. They may want to, shop on their own freely, and they don't want to be bothered. Then you have people who want you to engage with them. I'm stopping in. I heard about you guys on the gram, or my friend referred me to you guys. I'm just getting into vintage, or whatever the case may be, or I'm looking for wrestling tees, or I'm looking for sports tees. And then you can engage with that person. The layout of your store, your inventory. You can engage with that person and help them show them options. Help them find pieces that may interest them.
Yeah, of course.
So that's kind of how we try to do here. I try to engage with everybody when they come into the door, and then I go based off their energy.
Of course,
so,
that's the right way to do it.
If a lot of times I may engage, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? And if I don't really get a response, then I kind of leave people alone,
Yeah.
let them shop. If they have a question, they have a question. And then there's other people that want you to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So a person may come in looking for something. Hey, I'm looking for Boston Celtics pieces. I'm going to show them where the Boston Celtics pieces are. I'm going to show them Boston Celtic pieces in different price ranges.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And go from there. And I'm going to help them, to the fullest extent.
Of course.
But that's kind of how we try to do customer service, at least, at the shop.
Right.
Another part of customer service at our shop is we offer a loyalty program. So each time you come in and you spend a certain amount, you get points. You accumulate a certain amount of points, you get a percentage off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's just something that, we offer at our store. Customer service at shows, same thing. Telling people, hey, if you have any questions, let us know. If you're looking for something specific, let us know. Try to just engage with the customer and go from there. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the basis of customer service, just being friendly and trying to help the person.
Of course.
In the store.
You're 1,000% right. The customer service aspect is huge. I've been to stores, man, where I'm walking in, it's my first time ever, and I'm like, it's cool. I know what I'm looking at, but then again, I still want, some people want to be contacted, see what the feel of the store is like, because not every time you're going to have that same customer come in. You're not going to always have reoccurring customers. You're going to have new customers coming in.
Yeah,
so you can never
definitely
take that chance of not contacting. People always feel like they want to be helped and stuff like that. It's a good thing to help the community out.
Definitely.
It's definitely a dope thing, I want to say. It feels crazy when you walk in. You ever been to a store before and the customer service is crazy?
Oh, yeah.
Or am I tripping?
All the time. Nah, I mean, I've gone into stores and nobody talks to me. Nobody asks me if I need help. And then I've gone into the store and, they're literally holding my hand through the shop and help me to a certain extent.
There's a middle area to, like you said, greet yourself, ask if you need help with anything, and then you let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely a middle area you want to hit. You want to make it seem like you're holding their hand the whole time, just
definitely.
Ignoring them at all.
And like I said, I try to go off of the vibe. So I try
Exactly.
to go off the energy that you come into the shop with. There's people that come into the shop with all types of energy. Some people come into the shop, I don't want to say scary, but some people come into the shop timid.
Yeah.
They're just getting into vintage, or this may not even vintage. This may be their first time shopping with a small business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different experience versus going, to H&M or, Urban Outfitters, stuff like that. So we just try to make sure we greet people. I go off of the energy that, the customer presents, and then I kind of take it from there, but we're here, just so people know, we're here to help. We're here for knowledge. We want to help you. We want to help you find something. If we can't help you find something, or we don't have it,
let us know.
Can't get it, you know what I mean? Then we'll refer you to somebody that does. Because I think a lot of people, at least in different cities, they don't want to refer people to another store. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, oh, I'm not going to.
They feel like it's a competition or something like that.
It's not a competition. We do what we do. We're going to always do what we do. And other people are going to do what they do. And every store is different. It has a different vibe, different product, different setting. You know what I mean? So it's never to that. So if it's something that we don't have or we can't get, I'll refer you. If I know, I'll refer you to somebody that has it or can get it for you.
There's enough money out there to do whatever you want to do and stuff like that.
There's enough money for everybody.
I hear when we talk about customer service, I don't really hear a lot of other business talk about one of the things, and that would be learning your customer, I want to say. So there's been times where, I'm going to put an example, like you said, Boston Celtics earlier, they might have a reoccurring customer, from Boston, loves the team. You'd be like, hey, I remember you from last time. We have this, that, and the third, and you could still build that bondage, that trust. Like Amber does. She does it really well with the flight girls, stuff like that. You build this customer bondage, and then you guys do photo shoots and stuff like that. That's always good, too. You build that relationship with your community, your people, and it's always going to benefit you in the back end, because the right person with the right heart, you help them, they help you. It always works out in the right way. That's what I want to say.
That's how it should be. And I mean, being a specialty store, we're not here to just sell clothes.
Exactly.
We're here, if somebody has a question, there's people that DM us all the time. Hey, I'm just getting started in thrifting. I'm trying to get into the game. Any tips, any advice you can give me. That's what we're here for. We tell people, pull up to the shop. You can pull up and chop it up. I'm gonna be here anyway. You know what I mean? So pull up, chop it up. Questions you may have. That's part of the game. We're not here just to make $1.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
We're not a corporation that's just looking. You know, we're not calculating numbers at the end of the month. You know, to hit a quota or something like that. You know, we're here to provide a service. We're here for knowledge. We're here for like the culture of this clothing, sneakers, fashion. That's what we're here for because we love it at the end of the day.
And you know, one of the things I feel like we talk about this all the time. One of the things a lot of people don't understand is, yes, it's a business. Yes, you're here to have fun, do it for the culture, help the community, make money, stuff like that. But every time you come in, you don't have to spend. You know, you don't have to spend $100, $200. You know,
you don't have to spend anything.
Exactly. That's the point I was going to end at is you don't even have to spend $1.
Yeah.
You know, coming in, interacting, having that good overall conversation, that customer service, that is what we're here for.
Yeah, we're here for good energy at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You come in with a vibe, you come in on good energy.
Yeah.
That's what we here for. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, there's tons of shops. There's, you know, everybody has an option. You know, another part I want to tap into for store owners, some people who may know, some people who may not know. The people that come into your, you know, establishment, your store, you know, be appreciative and grateful because everybody has choices.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't have to shop with you.
Exactly.
I feel like sometimes people feel like people are obligated to shop with just them and not anybody else. You know, anybody that comes through our door, we're extremely appreciative, whether you shop with us or you don't shop with us, because you have a choice at the end of the day.
Exactly.
People that wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go to Flight Vintage today, I personally appreciate that, and so does Amber. You know what I mean? So I just want to throw that out there for other people who are, you know, getting started, opening the store. Keep that in mind, is that everybody has an option. They don't have to shop with you, so treat everybody that comes into your establishment, you know, with kindness.
Of course. I mean, like you said, you guys appreciate it a lot. We all appreciate it just because you're taking time out their day. You know, they're taking time out their day.
Yeah.
Come over, spend time, maybe possibly spend money or whatever. It doesn't even matter about that.
Yeah.
It's just that time. We appreciate it. You know, it's really worth it.
Nah, definitely. And people, you know, they can spend their money where they want to spend their money at. You know what I mean? So people have a choice at the end of the day. People wake up, go to their job, and if they come into your shop and they decide to spend money with you, you know, good money, because all money is good money at the end of the day.
All money is green, so it has no difference.
Whether it's $5 or $100,
Exactly.
it's still somebody else's money that they're deciding to spend with you. So, you know what I mean? You got to keep all those type of things in mind with, you know, operating the storefront.
No, of course, it's a big thing. Customer service matters. How you feeling today, James? How you think this episode we're doing today? Doing pretty good.
We're doing good. I think we touched on, you know, some key topics. You know, I just want people, you know, that's getting into this, you know, learning the game, learning reselling, learning, you know, sneakers, vintage, streetwear, to just kind of tap into these key points because, you know, especially if you're trying to get into it full time and do this on a serious note or take it seriously. You know what I mean? These are things that not enough people are putting out into the space.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's what we trying to provide at the end of the day. We just trying to help the next person get better. You know what I mean? And push the culture forward.
Of course. This has been a fun episode. Appreciate everyone who's been watching, clicked on the video. Thank you so much. We appreciate it a lot. What's your one thing you want to say before we out?
Definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in with us. Please give us a follow at Flight Vintage on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all platforms.
Of course.
You know, if you're in, you know, New England area, Connecticut, pull up to the shop, 1427 Dixwell Avenue. And, you know, appreciate you guys. Definitely hit us with any questions or things like that, topics you want us to discuss, things you want us to tap into. And, yeah, man, appreciate y'all. Catch y'all on the next one.
We're out.